Good evening. Hello, Mel. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Shri. Good to talk to
All
you.
right. We just did a 3,800-mile adventure opening blog, and opening podcast. Thank you for putting the link to the podcast to your blog. Appreciate it. So I know you guys started and wanted to quickly get to a couple of questions. You did like the 23-mile climb out of Cumberland. Just wanted to talk to you quickly about what is the most challenging part of that ride. And also, you talked about how it crossed the Mason-Dixon line. So, wanted to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, so the that day was a great day, challenging, but felt good energy. We had done 77 miles the previous day, so we were doing about 45 that day. The day before we had encountered a area of Pennsylvania that had been struck by a tornado just 3 days prior, and there were blowdowns on the trail that required us to climb over or under trees every 500 feet, sometimes a half a mile. So you were stopping and going, and then climbing and carrying your bike over these trees. So the next day we had 45 miles of clear trail, um, a, a much shorter ride and a much
Mm,
less challenging ride, but really beautiful. We've been riding along the Erie Canal. From Cumberland, we actually went on to what's called the Allegheny Passage, and
mhm.
we're traveling along the Castleman River, which is a gorgeous river with many rapids and waterfalls that come from the cliffs along the side of the river. So very beautiful, very very beautiful.
Yeah.
But still, you're climbing all day long. It's 45
Mhm.
basically uphill, gradually uphill, but still uphill. So that wears on you and takes some perseverance to continue. But the group was kind of bonding when we all sort of were in our little subgroups, that kind of feeling out who travels at what speeds, and it was a good day. Good day.
Yeah. And I think you did mention that you were riding with your brother Chet
Yep.
also, and then you guys were together for the most time. But there was one blog post I read, and I had a chance to read pretty much every blog post, and I'll read the one today as well. But you said something about Mama said there would be days like this, and I thought I really liked the title. I don't know what inspired you to write that one.
Um, well, that's a reference to a song, a rock and roll song, and
The
the song is really about life's challenges. And that was a day in which we faced torrential rain, not throughout the morning, but for periods of time where the rain was made it difficult to see. The fog was thick in parts, particularly as we crossed some bridges that went over the river. Um, and and then as the rain stopped, all the temperature dropped like probably 20
mm,
degrees, to the point where we were in low 40s. So not only are you wet, and I have good rain gear, but you're wet. It's damp, you're wet, and then
mhm.
temperature drops and the wind picked up. We were riding straight into a 20-hour wind. Um, that's a day when you question, why am I doing this?
Mhm.
And so that's the reference to Mama said there would be days like
Days like that, yeah,
days that
yeah,
um, tough tough to take on, but when you get through it, you really feel like you passed the test.
yeah. I did see that after the rain, there was all blue skies you guys had, and you went 32 miles. I mean, today's blog, I just pulled it up, where you're staying at Travelers Rest, I think, right? That's the
Correct.
one. An old pipe factory that you mentioned. Anything you want to talk about that? Um,
It's a remarkable hostel that's built because the bike trail ends here in Pittsburgh. This is a couple that bought it 12 years ago, bought this restored factory. They turned it into a hostel. So there's like my room has 4 beds in it. Four of our travelers are sleeping together, and some of the rooms have 2 beds, 3 beds. They're the beautiful woodwork, gorgeous fireplaces in each room. Um, we We have a garage that was the old loading dock downstairs. We were able to ride our bikes right into when we arrived. There's bike
Hmm.
racks in there. There's a workbench that's designed to work on bicycles. So we were able to, if we needed to do anything, tweaking things, I had to tweak my seat a little bit, and all the tools were there. So it's really a custom designed facility for cyclists, and it's here because there's a path that comes through Pittsburgh, and this couple wanted to. They wanted to go into the hospitality business and wanted to focus on bicyclists, and that's what they're doing. And it's really special, really, really kind of special.
So it looks like you've already done 400 miles, and tomorrow seems like you are going to go through Ohio. Give us a little bit about what you're looking forward to and where you guys will be headed tomorrow.
So, tomorrow, for the first time since we left DC, we will be on regular roads. So, that's a big change because we've been riding on rail trails and canal.
Gravel.
Yeah, gravel. We're going to be on asphalt tomorrow. We're going to have to be aware of automobiles for the first time in a week, which is not something I'm unused to, but still, it's a new experience for the group, as a group. So you got to be careful with that. And then when you're on roads, there are hills, whereas with the towpath and the rail paths, they're really, you might have a grade, but it's a very, very slight grade. So we'll be dealing with some climbs that will be challenging. We have about 63 miles and about 2,500 feet of climbing ahead of us. I'm sure it'll be a test, but and we also were predicted to have 15-mile headwinds, which isn't fun, uh,
Mm,
and can be a little daunting. I think it's going to be dry for most part. There could be some late afternoon thunderstorms. Hopefully, with 60 miles, we'll be done by before those thunderstorms come upon us. So it's going to be a different kind of day and a new day and a new state to sort of check off the box. We'll be staying tomorrow night at a Catholic school in the gym. So we don't have to set up our tents, but we're all going to be sleeping on the floor of a gym. So that's a
that's good.
challenge.
The one thing I think I've read in one of your blogs that, you are now one rider short. Looks like, one person had to turn back. So looks like you started as a group, but it looks like you're one man down right now.
Yeah. So when I was preparing for this ride, and I've done, as I told you, I've done other rides before, a number of them, nothing of this length. But that, and that it happens that people
Mm,
arrive and aren't prepared, or for whatever reason can't continue. And so when I was preparing for this, I was wondering, like, how many people will finish this ride? We're going to start.
mm,
Well, how many people will finish? Who won't make it? Will it be me? It's possible. You can have
mm,
you can get sick, anything can happen. So it's a
right.
question mark. And this one fella showed up. He was not feeling well. He was kind of sick and didn't get much better. He didn't ride, but he did ride in the van for the first 3 days. And he was an experienced rider. He's done a lot of different tours before with this organization and others. And by the third day, he said, "I'm going home." And
Yeah.
so that's one down. I'm hoping we don't lose anybody else, but you never know.
Yeah. Well, I think, that just shows you about the endurance of this trip. And like I said, being very interested, looks like, a lot of people have been enjoying the blogs that you've written. I've certainly read through all the blogs except the one today, but I'll be reading it after we hang up, and then we'll come back during your next stop and talk a little bit about today's ride as well. I mean, I think we spoke a little bit about it, but I know you're busy, you're tired, but even giving this time to share your journey, and that's actually amazing. And maybe, like I said, inspires a lot of people. Like I said, it's a long journey. It's an endurance ride. That's what they call it. And then for you to come and share it here and answering some of the questions I had in my mind as you're going through this, especially you kind of reference a Grateful Dead song, you referenced the Mason Dixon line. So I
Oh,
think
right.
those are all great things for us. And the one that you just mentioned today about the 1863, one of the travelers thing, that was actually pretty interesting to read there as well. So, yeah. So this is good, Mel. And like I said, I want to make sure that you get enough rest before you start your journey again. And then text me, and then we'll figure out another day, another time, and then we'll talk about your next phase of the journey, where you are.
Great. Thank you, Sri. My next off day, I think, is next Saturday. And then
Okay.
we have a long stretch where we don't have an off day for almost 2 weeks. So
Okay.
maybe next Saturday, or if not, then
Sure.
sometime.
Sure. That works.
Good.
That works. I mean, and in the meanwhile, we're looking at the blogs and see where you are.
Thanks. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks again, and have a good night, and good luck to you, and good luck to all the writers.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Good night.